I am gaming. I am gaming. I am gaming podcast.
Hey everybody, my name is Ivica. Thank you so much for joining me on the latest episode of I'm Gaming Podcast. This is a podcast about the video game industry, entrepreneurship, gaming nostalgia, and many more things I find to be in the same really cool realm of business and creative ventures. This is episode 94, and thank you so much for all of my Patreon supporters and to all of my Patreon supporters for their presence, for their money, for their support. All of that means a lot to me, and it is the thing that is driving this podcast to keep going and to get to more and more episodes. We're really close to episode 100, and it's going to be live and online hopefully in 2 months from now, almost precisely. Again, a huge thanks to all of you because you make the I Am Gaming podcast possible. For this episode, I have a kind of a story episode in mind, and it's all about the concept of don't write off radio as a medium. Now, I know that for a lot of people, the idea of radio isn't anything that was, let's say, 20 years ago, when so many people were secure in their idea that radio is dead and gone. By radio, I mean radio transmissions that you can hear on your radio receivers. Classic radio examples are probably anything you can find in your car or in that old radio set that you have in your kitchen. I'm not saying anything digital, I'm saying literally the radio transmissions that go into air and that you can pick up with anything that is a radio with an antenna. Now, this concept came back in many ways with the idea of exactly this, the thing that you're listening to now, which is a podcast. Podcasts are basically radio shows that are produced independently and distributed not through that emission that is free and located in the air, but through an additional medium, which is the medium of the internet. In this case, podcasts and all other hybrid radio shows are something that is available for free usually, like in this case, but comes with a different kind of monetization, but still uses a system that demands a one or another paid principle that sees you having internet in the first place that you can use then to get to your podcasts or any other type of audio-based content that you might enjoy. But I wanted to say that even with that, the idea of having the ability to send out radio waves and have the ability of anyone else to pick them up is super cool and super important, yet still. This came to me a few nights ago when I was taking a walk in my neighborhood in the lovely, the beautiful Novi Sad, Serbia, and I came across an older man, an older gentleman, who was riding his bike. He looked kind of let's say 60 or 70 years old, and he had a bunch of stuff on his bike, but he also had something that we would call a boombox several decades ago, but now it's a simple and really small portable radio that he was listening to at full blast. So when he came by and he passed me, it was like having a small radio station travel near you and keep emitting those sounds. Now, he was listening to some kind of a rock radio station. The track that was on was Dire Straits, some of their song, the instrumental version, and it was blasting from it. He came, he went, it was over pretty quick, but as I watched that, I figured out that in that case, he does have his content for free. He only needs to have a radio transmitter and some batteries, and with that, he can enjoy the same music whenever he likes, how much ever he likes, throughout the day. And that's a powerful thing to have in its own. Now, I know that radio and its heyday is gone. We will never again see the times like it was in the 1930s across the world when radio was the dominant electronic medium. But I'm also certain that the idea of radio coming out of existence as an independent medium is not going to happen either. There is a lot of powerful things going on inside of that ability to have a small black box that you can use wherever you are to get information, to get entertainment, to get art. and pay nothing for it apart from keeping that radio box working. Now there's a catch even in that domain with renewable sources, like things that include solar power radios or crank based power sources in radios. You can get that energy for free and it's renewable. And with that, the only thing that you have kind of an issue with is the ability to have governments give out licenses for those radio frequencies that you can use. Now that is a choke point, but I'm sure that in the future that choke point also will be resolved in some kind of a manner, some kind of a way, possibly with the introduction and the use of the digital domain of the internet, where people would be able, I'm not saying that everyone would be able to have their own radio station like everyone can have their podcast now, but there is going to be a future where you're still using physical radio waves to send out information that anyone can then get. Again, I'm not sure how that would be possible. Would it be possible to cut the basis of the emission to a much smaller places, much smaller differences, so that you can have millions of radio stations without them interfering with one another? Probably it's not that easy. If somebody would do it already, but there is a future in radio, as in a transmission of some kind of a radio broadcast that will be in the 21st, maybe even in the 22nd century. So the audio medium is not dead. We're all aware of that. Podcasts are bigger than they've ever been before, but I'm sure that radio isn't dead either. Just look at that older gentleman that passed me by a few nights ago. His radio is clearly his best friend, and there will be plenty of people like that in the future as well. This isn't something that is going to go anywhere anytime soon. So keep in mind, radio as a medium, it's here to stay. That was all for episode 94. Thank you so much for listening. I'm really glad that you stuck through till the very end. Please consider subscribing to this YouTube channel. Please consider supporting me on Patreon and checking out my book on overcoming procrastination. Until my next episode, have a great week, and I'll see you on I Am Gaming Podcast episode 95. Bye bye.